Greetings, welcome to another day of Autoforge development. The last few days I've been working on the render stuff again, just trying to finish that up, and I got to a good place where I think, I'm ready to move on. So I just wanted to show some of that last few parts of the render that I was working on, namely the material, which adds in support for the uniform data setting and kind of wraps things up nicely. So I was going to go over that. Thank you to Fake Pyre for suggesting I do this rather than what I was going to do instead. So yeah, a material is just the combination of shaders and uniforms and the render state and possibly texture information as well. So I have a material now instead of kind of dealing with shader stuff separately. So before, our render component would specify the vertex shader and the fragment shader. And now instead it just says which material it uses. And so how that works is that we create materials on the render, and so the render is completely responsible for managing the materials. And then whenever we create it with some name, some hash string ID, and that gives us a material handle in return. So a material handle is actually just an index into our material list. This is a pretty common thing to do, is like have some quick way to index into our material or a vector of materials. But sometimes we do need to access our materials by some unique name. So if we have some super duper material that a prefab wants to use, we can specify it by name, and we assume that that was already set up somewhere else. And then while our entity is being put together, our render component will say, hey, I use the super duper material. Why don't you give me the handle for that? And I'll just store that handle. And that's, we have this like kind of redirect of hash string to material handle. And then in the future, whenever we are rendering our render component, we can see over in this draw function, we just include the material ID as part of the group UID. And so this is kind of how we tell our render system, hey, let's go ahead and batch all of these sprites up by this unique ID, which includes the material. And then later on, we pull out this material from this group UID, and we will, at that point, be able to get access to our material and apply it properly. And I have that somewhere in here, somewhere. There we go, where we have the material handle, and then we just get the material, we apply the render state, we apply all the uniforms. Right now I have it so it's just returning the program handle for our material, and then that's used to submit to bgfx. And that's pretty much it, right? We do have everything being hard-coded right now, our materials. And so that's something I would like to change in the future, such as putting in a .material file and having the engine read that, something along those lines. But right now it's just all hard-coded, which is getting the job done. So yeah, happy with how things are, kind of moving on to new things for now. Yeah, so I hope this was helpful or interesting at least. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.